you guys dropped Big 3 again. This is a new season. I remember you famously made an offer to Catlin Clark, but what about Angel Reese? Do you think she could ball out? You know, she's pretty solid, you know?
Yeah, she's a great player. No, the thing with Catlin Clark, it was just to unlock millions of dollars for the league because of her stardom, what our sponsors was telling us.
Right.
They didn't tell us the same thing about Angel Reese, so I don't know if we can make that.
So, I see.
She walked into a city that wasn't supposed to be hers, didn't say a word, and the building answered for her. That's the moment everyone keeps missing. Not the post, not the tunnel walk, not the subtle jab, just the noise when Catlin Clark stepped into Chicago and the crowd told you where the energy lives now. You can argue bias, you can argue media, you can argue who took over whose trap, but thousands of voices don't lie. The city picked its soundtrack, and the chorus was loud. A week earlier, Angel Reese lit the match. Walk into your trap, take over your trap. The Reebok clip, the caption. The I'm in your city strut aimed straight at Indiana and the rookie who never responds. That's the part that stung. Because when you call the shot like that, the next weekend becomes a scoreboard, spoken or not. And when Clark arrived in Chicago, the reception wasn't regular. It was arena security on alert, kids on tiptoes, grown men reaching for phones like she was MJ back from retirement. You don't plan that, you don't PR team that, you don't buy that. That's the kind of noise you can only earn, and Chicago handed it out like posters. Meanwhile, a smaller scene told a bigger story.
It was more fans running. They was running down on Catlin Clark like she was Michael Jordan. Treated like MJ in the rack. Oh my God. Catlin Clark getting treated like Derrick Rose, Michael Jordan, Chief Keef, Lil Durk, all of them. Catlin Clark took over Chicago. She signed autographs for hours. This wasn't no extras that was paid to come stand in the scene. No, these were real people trying to get autographs.
Clark in Indianapolis, sliding into a school without turning it into a spectacle, handing out backpacks through her foundation, signing until the pens got tired. No big production, no red carpet, just a line that wrapped around hallways and a rumor that somehow she'd turned school supplies into social currency. Every kid walked out with a bag and a memory. Yeah, she came to our school. There are highlight reels that don't trend like that. That's the difference between being promoted and being wanted. One needs a push. The other pulls a crowd all by itself. Then came the clip that set AR5 Twitter on fire. Ice Cube asked point blank if Angel Reese could get the kind of bag he floated toward Clark. He didn't dance around it. He said what his sponsors told him. Clark's stardom meant millions on the table. Reese? The numbers weren't the same. He framed it like business, not beef. But the internet heard an insult. Fans heard, "You don't move product." Clips hit timelines. Debates hit spaces. The word bias got thrown around like a beach ball at a summer concert.
Fans are gonna be pissed. By the way, we don't know if she's playing or not today. That's right. Fever at Chicago Sky. And I've been like, do I want to watch? I mean, there's like a bunch of people supposed to be out. Angel Reese, we'll check on her status in a minute. At least what I could find thus far for this game. And a rather interesting comment about her playing today that I never even considered, to be honest with you.
But from Cube's side, it sounded like math. Star power isn't a vibe, it's a spreadsheet. And if you don't like it, you know where the court is. That's where this whole thing gets messy. A rivalry that sells out arenas, not because the players are screaming at each other, but because the crowd is. Fans keep trying to cast Clark as the league's main character and Reese as the villain or vice versa, depending on your algorithm. Every tunnel walk becomes a thesis. Every whisper becomes a headline. Every charity moment gets accused of being orchestrated, then disproved by the mob that shows up without invitations. And every time you think it cooled off, somebody pulls a clip of Cube saying 5 million and the cycle spins again. It's too easy to say this is about personality. It's not. It's presence versus performance. Clark doesn't clap back because she doesn't need to. The ovations do it for her. The away arenas that cheer do it for her. The security guards who look up and sigh like, "We're doing this again, do it for her." She's not running from beef, she's just not serving it. She doesn't change her voice when the cameras appear. She doesn't rehearse the "we were disrespected" line. She signs, she shoots, she leaves. The calm is not an act, it's a weapon. And you can't bait someone who refuses the fishhook. Angel's lane, meanwhile, thrives on the spotlight, the walk-ins, the captions, the edge. It's part of her charisma. It's part of how she popped in the first place. She's loud in a way that draws attention, for better and for worse. And there's a market for that.
Reese's trap took it over after a week of Angel Reese coming in Indiana and throwing jabs at Catlin Clark saying she took over your city. Talking about she took over your trap. Like, look at this right here with Angel Reese. This was just about a little over a week ago. Angel Reese posted to her Instagram page a Reebok commercial saying, "Walk into your trap, take over your trap," and it was captioned, "I'm in your city." Like, do you see the constant jabs of Angel Reese? If this is not like a microcosm of what Angel Reese did to get on, what Angel Reese did to get famous, chasing around Catlin Clark, pointing a finger, this is...
There's also a bill for it. Because when the crowd shows up for Clark in street clothes, it puts pressure on every player whose team needs a moment that isn't a tweet. You can't fake ovations. You can try to compete on the runway, but sellouts answer only to the scoreboard of human noise. If the seats fill, the narrative bends. Back to Cube. It wasn't personal, he kept saying between the lines. It was sponsors. It was value. It was the reality of what stardom meant to a league that needed eyes. Reports say he offered Clark a headline number because his partners believed she could change the math. They didn't say the same for Reese. That doesn't mean Reese isn't a draw. It means the slopes are different. And in sports, the slope is everything. If one player turns a Tuesday night into a spectacle, money moves. If another player scores well but the room doesn't change, money sits. That's the cold part of this story. It's not about who you like. It's about who fills a building when nothing else is happening. People keep asking for proof that this is real. Like you can't hear it every time Clark steps into a visiting arena and the noise shifts. Like you didn't see a Chicago crowd treat her like the hometown headliner. Like those kids at that school weren't proof that this is bigger than highlights. Nobody is...
Played the Chicago Sky on Barbie night, and obviously it was... I actually am impressed by Chicago Sky's fight. They were overmatched. They were absolutely overmatched. Because I gotta say this, they tried. This is the first time I've seen the Sky without both Angel Reese and Ariel Atkins try for a full game.
Reese is pretend. She's not. She's a worker, a rebound magnet, a tone setter. But the market isn't grading on hustle. It's grading on gravity. Who pulls things toward them without tugging? Who can be silent and still rearrange the room? Reese can push, Clark can pull, and right now, the pull is winning. Of course, the fans turn that into war. AR diehards insist the media is playing favorites. Clark supporters point to ratings, spikes, sellouts, and the way her name trends when she does nothing. Both sides talk like their favorite player is being disrespected. Both sides clip angles to prove their point. And the truth sits there, annoyed, waiting for someone to say it. Conflict is optional, business isn't. You can dislike the way this is going. You can clap back at Cube. But if the turnstiles spin and the cameras follow, the execs will keep choosing certainty. And star certainty right now wears 22. There's a quieter subplot in this. The how did we get here of Clark's calm. She's been the target, the magnet for booze, the lightning rod for every think piece about privilege and promotion. She hears it. She just doesn't give it fuel. There's power in being the person who will not be dragged into the mud, no matter how many hands reach for you. People expect friction, and she keeps showing them frictionless. That messes with a lot of strategies. You can't fight someone who won't fight you. You can only watch what happens when the crowd decides to cheer anyway. Reese, for her part, has the right to carry a chip. She came into a league that scrutinizes everything she wears, everything she says, everything she posts. She leans into the show because the show sells. But the show is a treadmill, and right now, it looks exhausting. Every week needs a moment. Every moment needs a reaction. Every reaction needs defending. And all the while, numbers don't care about feelings. If you're winning, the room softens. If you're losing, the room demands a new trick. That's why this feud keeps simmering, because both are tethered to different kinds of power, and the scoreboard doesn't accommodate both at once. What flips it? Hoops, not captions, not commercials. Real Stack the Wins hoops. Reese has a chance to turn this by anchoring a run that feels undeniable. Controlling glass, stealing possessions, closing games. The moment the skies start ending nights with W's that feel like statements, the narrative shifts. A crowd can forgive a tunnel walk if you drop a 2015 and stomp out a rival. Even Cube's calculus changes if the needle moves at the gate. The league is hungry. You don't have to be everyone's favorite to be the event. You just need to force appointment viewing, but the window isn't polite. Clark's still only in her rookie chapter, and even half-built, the machine already hums. Reports claim stadiums have felt different when she visits. Clips show signing lines that don't end. Commentators argue whether this is marketing or momentum, and the answer is yes, she's both. She's also a problem for anyone hoping to talk their way into parody. When the noise is this loud, other roots feel quiet. That's why the backlash sounds so frantic. It's not hatred, it's urgency dressed up as... There's another angle nobody wants to admit. A lot of this tension fuels the league. The debates, the comparisons, the jabs, the counters.
See, this is why sometimes you gotta learn to leave people alone and mind your own damn business. This is exactly why. You bark up the wrong tree, it might just fall on you. What happened to Miss Angel Reese? She's all in Indiana during All-Star and her Reebok campaign, come to your track, take over your track. What happened to that? Because it looked like Catlin Clark went to Chicago and took the city.
This is how stars get minted in the modern sports economy. Fans want a hero. They want a foil. They want to believe there's something at stake beyond seeding. The trick is to ride the story without letting it ride you. Clark has fans playing defense for her while she keeps her hands clean. Reese has fans swinging first so she doesn't always have to. Both strategies can work, but only one of them comes with the quiet that sponsorships love. That's where Cube's comment felt like a reveal. Sponsors don't just buy numbers, they buy ease, less headache, less volatility. More guaranteed hoopla with fewer fires to put out, which is why Chicago mattered. Not just the game, the reception, the autographs, the away ovation that felt like a home crowd with the colors swapped. That's the measurement front offices track and pretend they don't. Who can walk into a rival's building and drag half the building onto their side? That's not supposed to happen for rookies. That's not supposed to happen for anyone. But it did. And the reaction in some corners wasn't, wow. It was, how dare you notice? That tells you everything. When acknowledging the temperature becomes controversial, the thermometer is not the problem. This is where I remind you, both of them can eat. The league is bigger than one storyline. There's room for Reese to be a cultural lightning rod and for Clark to be a gravitational well.